My seemingly perfect fiancé, 32 male, cheated on me, 28 female, when blackout drunk with a co-worker in a toilet at an event we were both at. In February of this year, my fiancé and I had just celebrated our 2-year anniversary and Valentine's Day. We were in a great spot, we always were. We have always had a beautiful and deep relationship, we can't get enough of each other. My fiancé is an extremely sensitive guy, he's attentive and very emotionally available. He never goes out with his mates, or if he does, he begs that I come along with him because he just loves to have me around. He's worked at the same place for 10 years and was changing careers and therefore having a farewell with his current workplace. He is a manager who has a great relationship with all of his colleagues. Prior to our relationship he tended to date lots of women he worked with. However, since we were together, all of his workmates followed us on social media. He would call me at work and him and his female colleagues would be in the background commenting on our relationship, about how much he loved me, that he was punching above his weight and knew he was stepfather to my 2 children. Here is where it all falls to shiz. He desperately wants me to come to his farewell, he is begging me daily for weeks. I personally am not keen on the idea because I'm a bit socially anxious and I feel it should be his moment with his colleagues, not having to introduce me to a bunch of people I won't even see again. He pleads and says he will book us a hotel. City where he works is 1.5 hours away from home, and so I reluctantly decide to go. We get to the hotel, he brings a male colleague to have some drinks before we go to the farewell and this relaxed me and I became excited for the night ahead, assisted by a few vodkas. I go to the farewell and meet all of his colleagues. They all clearly adore him. He's just one of those guys, he's a people person with an infectious personality and just a effing nice person. No ego about him at all. You could tell everybody was truly devastated he was leaving. He is proudly showing me off to all of his colleagues and I end up sitting at a table with a few females. One of them, let's call her Jessica. I didn't know if lots of people here, but Jessica had come up previously. I had previously seen some work emails between my fiancé and her which were somewhat flirty. Lots of emojis and my fiancé wrote in one of them, "Thanks my love." I brought this up with him because I felt it was inappropriate. If I had a boss and they called me my love, that wouldn't sit well with me. He apologized and said this was just how he interacted with lots of females at his workplace. More so the 50 to 60-year-old women he managed. However, the terminology had slipped into an interaction with a 22-year-old. I was very off it. However, it absolutely is how he speaks to people, and also, this girl was not somebody I was intimidated by, nor did I think he would be attracted to. So that is the only context I have to their relationship before this farewell. Whilst sitting at the table with her, my fiancé sits with his hand in my lap, touching me and trying to make sure I'm comfortable, and I am observing her mannerisms. She is playing with her hair and constantly adjusting her dress around her breasts and being generally flirtatious with my partner. I just see this as a typical work crush that a young female has on her male older boss. As the night progresses, everybody is feeding my fiancé drink after drink. He hasn't binge drank since we have been together and I didn't think he was too intoxicated. However, he was having shots, some of which Jessica purchased for him and I am just feeling like I can't really get drunk and that I am being a drag on his big night. I tell him I want to go back to the hotel and let him enjoy the rest of the night with his friends, and he begs me to stay. This happens a few times until I eventually get an Uber. He walks me to the Uber and kisses me, tells me how much he adores me, thanks me for coming and tells me he won't be too far behind me getting back to the hotel. As a joke I say don't go cheating on me with Jessica, to which we both laugh and he's like, absolutely not, love you so much. A few hours later, he is carried into our hotel room by 3 colleagues. 1 male and 2 females, no Jessica. He is completely out of it and throwing up until morning. I've never seen him like this. I have to leave the hotel early to pick up my kids from their dads. As I'm leaving the hotel, I get a text from an unknown person. The context of this message turns my blood cold. It essentially says that my fiancé sexually assaulted his partner, Jessica. It's this long horrible message about if I'm in a monogamous relationship I need to know about my fiancé's behavior last night. Saying he took advantage of his status and sexually assaulted a vulnerable coworker. I ask him to call me immediately to tell me what happened. He eventually does. He says that Jessica returned home from the night out completely distressed. That at the start of the night my fiancé made a comment about her looking hot which made her uncomfortable and she wanted to leave but decided not to. He says that after I left, my fiancé dragged her into a bathroom, kissed her, told her he wanted to F her. She tried to push him off her and leaves the bathroom. Instead of leaving the venue, she then goes and sits on a booth with him and talks to him. The boyfriend says that there was witnesses and that he also did the same to other girls that night. I eventually speak to Jessica who echoes what her boyfriend says, however she says there was no other girls involved. She says he dragged her in the toilets and kissed her while she said, "But what about your fiancé?" over and over. I am very kind to her and understanding, however question why if she was offended by him at the start of the night did she stick around and buy drinks etc. She says there was no comment at the start of the night. She also says that there was absolutely no context to it and that she felt it was just a drunk spur-of-the-moment thing. I speak to witnesses from the night. They all say it was her who led him into the toilets, however his best male colleague says at one point he told my fiancé to stop flirting with Jessica which he awkwardly laughed off. This was before the toilet situation. Basically when I confronted my fiancé about it, he didn't remember one single thing. His skin was yellow and he was vomiting for days. He tells me that before he met me, when he would drink he would often black out and behave completely out of character, which is why he no longer drank during our relationship. He had never cheated before but he would act violently and break things, get in fights etc. and then wake up the next day not remembering. This was all validated by his friends and also since speaking with my psychologist, he believes that due to the alcohol, his depression medication, Seroquel, and the history of alcoholism in his family that it is a high possibility he truly doesn't remember. Another potentially important factor is that his father passed away a few months earlier from alcoholism and he was still struggling with this. My fiancé vowed to stop drinking, whilst he barely did in the first place. He hasn't in 6 months. He allows me to see his phone and he has cut ties with everybody from that workplace. He seems as completely heartbroken and confused about it as I was. Our relationship is good, he is patient and understanding, however I am still constantly riddled with this sickening imagery of him in a toilet with another woman trying to F her. It's 6 months on and I'm still broken about it. I'm so torn about whether due to the prior context of flirty texts that I am missing something. Surely he wouldn't beg for me to come to the farewell and beg me to stay if he had any intent of cheating on me? It's hard when every cheating story I read on here, I'm trying to find some comfort in this getting easier and us getting past this, however I'm constantly seeing once a cheater always a cheater and drunk actions are sober thoughts and I just can't shake this feeling that I'm missing something and that I'm going to be hurt again. Other than this one isolated situation, he has been everything I've ever dreamt of.